June 22nd, 1911. On the day King George V was crowned at Westminster Abbey in London, Billy Williams went down the pit in Aberowen, South Wales. The 22nd of June, 1911 was Billy's 13th birthday. He was woken by his father. Da's technique for waking people was more effective than it was kind. He patted Billy's cheek in a regular rhythm, firmly and insistently. Billy was in a deep sleep, and for a second he tried to ignore it, but the patting went on relentlessly. Momentarily he felt angry, but then he remembered that he had to get up. He even wanted to get up, and he opened his eyes and sat upright with a jerk. 4 o'clock, Da said. Then he left the room, his boots banging on the wooden staircase as he went down. Today, Billy would begin his working life by becoming an apprentice collier, as most of the men in town had done at his age. He wished he felt more like a miner, but he was determined not to make a fool of himself. David Crampton had cried on his first day down the pit, and they still called him Die Crybaby, even though he was 25 and the star of the town's rugby team. It was the day after midsummer, and a bright early light came through the small window. Billy looked at his grandfather lying beside him. Grandpa's eyes were open. He was always awake whenever Billy got up. He said old people did not sleep much. Billy got out of bed. He was wearing only his underdrawers. In cold weather he wore his shirt to bed, but Britain was enjoying a hot summer and the nights were mild. He pulled the pot from under the bed and took off the lid. There was no change in the size of his penis, which he called his Peter. It was still the childish stub it had always been. He had hoped it might have started to grow on the night before his birthday, or perhaps that he might see just one black hair sprouting somewhere near it, but he was disappointed. His best friend, Tommy Griffiths, who had been born on the same day, was different. He had a cracked voice and a dark fuzz on his upper lip, and his Peter was like a man's. It was humiliating. As Billy was using the pot, he looked out of the window. All he could see was the slag heap, a slate-grey mountain of tailings, waste from the coal mine, mostly shale and sandstone. This was how the world appeared on the second day of creation, Billy thought, before God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass." A gentle breeze wafted fine black dust off the slag onto the rows of houses. Inside the room there was even less to look at. This was the back bedroom, a narrow space just big enough for the single bed, a chest of drawers, and Grandpa's old trunk. On the wall was an embroidered sampler that read, "Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved." There was no mirror. One door led to the top of the stairs, the other to the front bedroom, which could be accessed only through this one. It was larger and had space for 2 beds. Da and Mam slept there, and Billy's sisters had 2 years ago. The eldest, Ethel, had now left home, and the other 3 had died, one from measles, one from whooping cough, and one from diphtheria. There had been an older brother, too, who had shared Billy's bed before Grandpa came. Wesley had been his name, and he had been killed underground by a runaway dram, one of the wheeled tubs that carried coal. Billy pulled on his shirt. It was the one he had worn to school yesterday. Today was Thursday, and he changed his shirt only on Sunday. However, he did have a new pair of trousers, his first long ones, made of the thick water-repellent cotton called moleskin. They were the symbol of entry into the world of men, and he pulled them on proudly, enjoying the heavy masculine feel of the fabric. He put on a thick leather belt and the boots he had inherited from Wesley. Then he went downstairs. Most of the ground floor was taken up by the living room, 15 feet square, with a table in the middle and a fireplace to one side, and a homemade rug on the stone floor. Da was sitting at the table reading an old copy of the Daily Mail, a pair of spectacles perched on the bridge of his long, sharp nose. Mam was making tea. She put down the steaming kettle, kissed Billy's forehead, and said, "How's my little man on his birthday?" Billy did not reply. The little was wounding because he was little, and the man was just as hurtful because he was not a man. He went into the scullery at the back of the house. He dipped a tin bowl into the water barrel, washed his face and hands, and poured the water away in the shallow stone sink. The scullery had a copper with a fire grate underneath, but it was used only on bath night, which was Saturday.